Good morning, everyone. We are continuing with Merging with Śiva, Chapter 19, Love of the Gods, from 1978. Lesson 129, second part, Communing with the Gods. Darshan is first experienced in the simple physical glimpse of the form of the deity and the sanctum. Later, that physical sight gives way to a clairvoyant vision or to a refined cognition received through the sensitive ganglia within your nerve system, the chakras. Through these receptors, a subtle message is received, often not consciously. Perhaps not immediately, but the message that the Darshan carries, direct from the Mahādeva, direct from Lord Gaṇeśa, direct from Lord Murugan, direct from Lord Śiva Himself, manifests in your life. This is the way the gods converse. It is a communication more real than the communication of language that you experience each day. It is not necessary to understand the communication immediately. The devotee may go away from the temple outwardly feeling that there was no particular message, or not knowing in his intellectual mind exactly what the darshan meant. Even the words you are now reading may not be fully cognized for days, weeks, or even months. The depth of meaning will unfold itself on reflection. Visiting a Hindu temple, receiving darshan from the majestic gods of our religion can altogether change the life of a worshipper. It alters the flow of the pranas, or life currents, within his body. It draws his awareness into the deeper chakras. It adjusts his beliefs and the attitudes that are the natural consequences of those beliefs. But the change is slow. He lives with the experience for months and months after his visit to the temple. He comes to know and love the deity. The deity comes to know and love him, helping and guiding his entire evolutionary pattern. Darshan, coming from the great temples of our gods, can change the patterns of karma dating back many past lives, clearing and clarifying conditions that were created hundreds of years ago and are but seeds now waiting to manifest in the future. Through the grace of the gods, those seeds can be removed if the manifestation in the future would not enhance the evolution of the soul. That's an important point there that's worth commenting on. So normally when we talk about karma and changing karma, talking about mitigation, making it less, or not making it go away. So the negativity involved in the karma can be reduced through our regular sadhanas, or is reduced through our regular sadhanas. That's a better way of saying it. Just by being regular in our daily and weekly sadhanas, the negativity of our negative karmas is reduced. So when it comes, it's not as powerfully negative or as upsetting as it would be without regular daily and weekly sadhanas. But this is deeper. This is saying it goes away, vanishes. Pretty good, right? But it requires a significant amount of work on your part, so Darshan coming from the great temples of our gods can change the patterns of karma dating back many past lives, clearing and clarifying conditions that were created hundreds of years ago and are but seeds now, waiting to manifest in the future. Through the grace of the gods, those seeds can be removed if the manifestation in the future would not enhance the evolution of the soul. So that's one of the possible benefits of going on a major pilgrimage. So visiting the great temples of our gods. It helps if you're on a pilgrimage because you've set aside the normal responsibilities in your life for a few weeks. Of course, unless you have your smartphone with you, then they follow you. But ignoring that, you set aside the normal responsibilities and therefore you're more receptive to the darshan of the great temples. And that receptivity helps this process take place. In fact, I remember, I put it in one of my talks because I was impressed with certain individuals who went on some of our inner search programs to India. And they came back and you could see a change in them, a significant change, and that was because some of the negative karma was totally removed. Lesson 130, the meaning of icon worship. Hindu temples are new to this side of the planet, and the knowledge of the very special and entirely esoteric nature of the Hindu temple is unknown in the West. One of the first misunderstandings that arises in the West is the purpose and function of the graven image. The Judaic-Christian tradition firmly admonishes against the worship of graven images, though of course in Catholicism saints and images, and in Eastern Orthodoxy their pictures are reverently worshipped. Contradiction there. The Hindu doesn't worship idols or graven images, he worships God and the great godlike Mahādevas. The image is only that, an icon, a representation or channel of an inner plane deity that hovers above or dwells within the statue. The physical image is not required for this process to happen. The god would perform his work in the temple without such an image, and indeed there are Hindu temples which have in the sanctum sanctorum no image at all but a yantra, mystic diagram. There are other Hindu temples which have only a small stone or crystal, a mark to represent the god worshipped there. However, the sight of the image enhances the devotee's worship, allowing the mind to focus on the sacred bonds between the three worlds, allowing the nerve system to open itself to the darshan. That's a very nice statement there. Open itself to the darshan. Sight is very powerful. Sight is the first connection made with the deity. The sight of the icon and the sanctum stimulates and enhances the flow of uplifting energies or pranas within the mind and body. Each deity performs certain functions, is in charge, so to speak, of certain realms of the inner and outer mind. Knowing which deity is being worshipped by seeing the image of the deity there unfolds in the mind's eye a like image and prepares the way for a deeper devotion. In a Hindu temple, there is often a multiplicity of simultaneous proceedings and ceremonies. In one corner, an extended family or clan with its hundreds of tightly knit members may be joyously celebrating a wedding. At another shrine, a lady might be crying in front of the deity, saddened by some misfortune and in need of solace. Elsewhere in the crowded precincts, a baby is being blessed. Several groups of temple musicians are filling the chamber with the shrill sounds of the nagaswaram and drum. After the puja reaches its zenith, Brahmin priests move in and out of the sanctum, passing camphor and holy ash and holy water to hundreds of worshippers crowding eagerly to get a glimpse of the deity. All of this is happening all at once, unplanned and yet totally organized. It is a wonderful experience, and such a diverse array of devotional ceremonies, such an intensity of worship, can only be seen in a Hindu temple. There is no place on earth quite like a Hindu temple. It's interesting, the experience I had with the most things happening was the Kumbhabhishekam at the Arizona Ganesha Temple, Maricopa. It was in the point in the Kumbhabhishekam after the main pouring had taken place, and so one of the things that was happening was I was giving a talk, standing right next to the main sanctum, but I know there was at least 4 other activities going at the same time. So it was really a challenge to stay focused on my talk, not get distracted by all the other activities. But that's probably one of the reasons I call a Kumbhabhishekam organized chaos. You never know what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, but somehow it all works and works out okay. Esoterically, the gods in the temple who live in the microcosm can work extraordinarily fast with everyone. There is so much going on that everyone has the sense of being alone. The weeping woman is allowed her moment of mourning. No one feels that she is upsetting the nearby wedding. No one even notices her. The temple is so active, so filled with people, that each one is left to worship as he needs that day. To cry or to laugh, or to sing or to sit in silent contemplation in a far-off corner. So next, we have some wisdom from ChatGPT. I was doing some research to answer some questions from devotees, so sometimes it's useful to ask ChatGPT what it thinks. My question was, in Hindu teachings, what does the word darshana mean in relation to experiencing God or the self? Oh, ChatGPT gives a great answer. This is just part of the answer. ChatGPT said, in Hindu thought, darshana, and it gives the Devanagari, is one of the most beautiful and subtle words for describing how a seeker experiences God, the divine or the inner self. It literally means seeing, but this seeing is far deeper than visual perception. Below is a clear Hindu philosophical explanation of the term as it relates to spiritual experience. 1. Literal meaning. Darshana equals seeing, beholding, vision, intuitive perception. Comes from the Sanskrit word drish, to see. But Hindu philosophy uses seeing as a metaphor for direct knowing. 2. Spiritual meaning in relation to God. In devotional traditions, bhakti, so that means theism. So we're monistic theists. So it's doing theism first and then it's doing monism. So this is the theistic approach to darshana. In devotional traditions, bhakti, darshana means the act of seeing God and being seen by God. So the second part, I was surprised that it got that, being seen by God. That's a subtlety. Normally you just think of darshan as, I am seeing the deity. But it's two-way communication. The deity is seeing you. When you stand before a deity in a temple, when you behold a living saint, guru, or yogi, when you inwardly perceive a presence during meditation, you are receiving darshana. The experience is believed to transmit grace, anugraha, through a silent, energetic exchange. The key insight is you do not only see God, God also sees you. that mutual recognition creates transformation. Pretty good, huh? For an AI. So number 3, we get to monism. Meaning in relation to the self, Atman. In yogic and Advaitic traditions, Darshana refers to the direct vision or recognition of one's own self. So, Yogaswami, for example, calls that Atma Darshana. This is not sensory vision, it is an inner seeing, a moment when awareness turns inward and recognizes its own nature. In this sense, Darshana is intuitional revelation, an inner flash of clarity, a moment where the self, Atman, is not believed in intellectually but experienced. This aligns with the Upanishadic idea. The self is seen by the self alone, or the Atma is seen by the Atma alone, or awareness is seen by awareness alone. Hence, Darshana equals self-realization in glimpses before complete and permanent realization, moksha. And we get number 4, Darshana as a philosophical perspective. Hinduism's 6 classical schools of philosophy are also called darshanas. In this usage, it means a way of seeing reality. Examples: Nyaya Darshana, Yoga Darshana, Sankhya Darshana. Each is a different view or lens through which truth is perceived. This philosophical meaning is rooted in the same idea. Truth is ultimately a matter of vision, how you see it. Number 5, how Darshana functions in yogic practice. Within yogic and Hindu philosophical frameworks, temple worship gives devotional darshan, sight of the deity. Guru-disciple encounter gives transformative darshana, sight of awakened consciousness. Meditation gives inner darshana, sight of the self, Atma. Thus, darshana spans the entire spectrum from outer ritual to inner realization. Short summary. Darshana in Hindu spirituality refers to seeing the divine in temple, guru, or vision, being seen by the divine, reception of grace, intuitive seeing of the self, the Atma within, inner revelation, a worldview or philosophical perspective, a way of seeing truth. At its core, darshana is the Hindu understanding of spiritual vision, where sight becomes a pathway to God and to self-knowledge. Wasn't that pretty good from the chat? I was surprised on the quality of the answers. Seems to be getting smarter. A wonderful day.